Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Friday market wrap-up. We are going to do a brief review of BTC and the short squeeze that we saw yesterday, and then also take a look at LTC and maybe one other coin here. We'll see. So I was a little bit disappointed in this move down. I was hoping we'd get a little bit lower, but the moment that I saw this move, which to me was just a fat finger here, right? And we took out all of these lows, it left these highs, undealt with. So that, in my eyes is when we started to see this squeeze. What I did not expect, however, was, right around here, I was looking for a move up and then to have our continuation to the downside. And instead, we very much liquidated a lot of shorts. So again, here, I have similar feelings about this. There is a lot of negative delta in the market, and I would not be surprised to see a short squeeze up to grab the liquidity at the very least, up in this zone here. Now, what I think would be more interesting is if instead of doing what is, in my opinion, the obvious move here, and that is to go up here to grab liquidity, I think what would be more interesting is if we did have a move down, came back up, another lower high, came down, did some consolidation, and then finally came down into this zone like we originally planned to grab the liquidity lower here. And then what would that do is it would give us, several lower highs here that then when we come like this, boom, boom, these areas will act as fuel for then our move up to get us through this area of resistance, right? And to, hopefully get on top of this range ultimately. So like my theory would be to, despite despite the possibility of a short squeeze here, which like I said is the easy move, I would prefer that we come down lower high, and so on and so forth. But it is Friday, and the weekend is here. So, typically what do we see with the weekend? We're likely just going to go sideways. Sideways here into Sunday, at which point, again, I would hope we'd come up and then continue our move down, come up, get our move down, get our deviation, and then maybe have some degree of continuation to the upside. And of course, like what we're going to be looking for is the FOMC meeting this upcoming week will be, obviously the key catalyst in our next, major move, right? The direction that we'll be headed in. What would be really, really great, like I said, is if we were to get that move, sideways to Sunday, get this up, come back down, get up here, at least to this area, preferably a little bit lower, by FOMC meeting, like by Wednesday, if we were to dump into that meeting and then have, some degree of a breakout and then continuation to the upside, like for me, that would be ideal. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see what happens. Like I said, if we were to, break up above this trend line here, and, I wouldn't be surprised if we short squeezed to 17.6. As a matter of fact, I think we'd even go a little bit higher because I think this is too obvious of a move. Taking a look at LTC, yesterday, I believe it was, we had this move down here, and right around here, I was basically like, yeah, or maybe it was a couple days ago, down here, I'm like, okay, well, we're obviously going to jump up and take out these highs here. Go down to 1 hour time frame. Said, yeah, we're going to obviously come up and take out these highs. We did just that, and, rode the bottom wedge trend line here for a little bit before then breaking down. And I'm ultimately looking for, I would really like to take out this low and at the very least get to about 74, grab the liquidity just a little bit below, and then, have some degree of a reversal to the upside, where maybe we see, pending what BTC does, maybe we see, kind of this move where we back test like the wedge somewhere up in here before then, having further continuation to the downside. Or maybe it's aggressive and we just simply have continuation. We take out the previous week low here. I guess at this point would be 2 weeks previous low. But the final zone would, for me, would be somewhere down in here, right? To me, this would be the ideal target, being the 0.5 fib that we have here, as well as the 618 and this daily at about 61. So this will really be pending BTC, given that this asset, in my opinion, does tend to move closely with BTC. That said, we can see that we are putting in a, descending triangle here. So I wouldn't be surprised if, at some point we get that move down to 73, we pop up, and then we come back down, and then at some point have a breakdown, to somewhere in this zone here, right? And that could then fuel a further move down on LTC, while BTC doesn't quite get that aggressive of a move down, at the time. So we'll just have to kind of take it bit by bit and see what happens. Sushi, again, this was one that I was really disappointed in how this one played out. Again, I was looking at our long zone here, and look at this, the point of control actually shifted down. And when we broke down through here, I was basically like, I don't want to trade this anymore. I think that this is, the news going on with it. We're not trading the charts anymore at this point. It's trading whatever news is going to come out with it. And I'm not about that. So I closed my short for a small loss here. Or my long, I'm sorry. I closed my long for a small loss here. And, since then we've just ultimately been putting in this range below here, to which, either A, we break down through here, or we gain acceptance back into this wedge, and we probably, virtually go straight up to this zone that I was originally talking about in the first place, right? In my opinion, there's a lot of negative delta in the market right now for sushi. So when and if there is a short squeeze, it will run. I mean, it'll have a really good squeeze to the upside. That said, with this FUD that's going on with sushi and whatever, with its tokenomics, its treasury, whatever, the market can behave irrationally. And despite the fact that there's 170 million negative delta in the sushi market right now, it could still behave irrationally and have continuation to the downside. So for that reason, I'm totally out of it. I have shorts in LTC. I had some here. I added more here. Like I said, at this point, I'm going to take it down to here, take my profits, and then look for a move up that I can then short again. BTC, I am short from, this zone, as I've said before. When we had that move up yesterday, we got the daily close below here or above here. It was such a strong daily close that I de-risked my short to a 1-to-1 hedge with my long, which I do have open in, from down here. So I'm hedged 1-to-1 right now on BTC. If if we do get this move down here, I'm gonna look to long it for sure. And if we get this move up, I'll look to add my shorts, higher up here, depending on what the reaction is. So we'll just have to wait and see. So trade safe, and we'll be back for our market update on Monday.